Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. It is time for some more neurodivergent memes, because I already have 2 full folders for 1 video. We're not gonna get through all of them, but I promise we'll get through all of them eventually. But I keep finding new ones. You know how it is. But either way, you know the drill. Before we get started, go get hydrated, grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink. And then we'll laugh at some memes. Are you hydrated? Good, let's go. Me, trying to appear like I'm listening. Meanwhile in my head. A dance party with frogs. That's just adorable. And ever since I saw that meme, this is sometimes what happens as like a filler scene in my head. Because you always got some like random stuff going through your head. Even when you're trying to like listen or focus on something else. You have random stuff in your head. But then someone reminds you of frogs, and then it's just suddenly a frog dance party. Oh well. When someone gets mad at you for being late, careless, messy, spacey, etc. You know, I also don't want me to be doing what I'm doing. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. People get frustrated at us for our traits. And like a lot of the time, sure, it can be frustrating for other people, you know, like if you keep forgetting to text them first, or if you forget to do something you meant to do, they asked you to do or something. It's sure it's frustrating for other people, but trust me, it is so much more frustrating for us. Doesn't actually make it like feel better for you, but you know, without doing it on purpose, you know. Autistic me, getting ready to act neurotypical at work. Gotta press out the human suit, you know. You gotta make sure it's looking human enough, you know, because otherwise people will know that you're an alien. Is that what we are? I thought autistic people are just like cats, because in a way there are honestly kind of a lot of similarities, and I really like cats, so I really like the comparison. But to be fair, the alien impersonating a human thing also seems quite fitting as to how it feels sometimes. Discovering you're autistic, like me, I'm definitely autistic. I fit all these traits and it explains why I am the way I am. Sees one trait that doesn't fit me. Nope, that's it, I'm faking it. Why is our imposter syndrome like this? Why is it like this? Because literally that's what happens. Because it's also like you relate to so many stories autistic people tell of themselves and like talk about their experience, and you're just like, yes, oh my god, I thought I was the only one who did this, or I thought it was like a normal thing to do, but then you find out that not everyone does it, and you're just like, wait, what? But then you suddenly see this one autistic experience or trait, and you're just like, can't relate to it all. I don't do it. I don't get it. And the imposter syndrome's just like, that's it, I knew you were faking. Why? My god. When you have a lot of creative ideas, but you don't know how to execute them. Or you know how to execute them, but the sheer amount of steps it takes to execute them stops you from even like getting started, because your brain's like, no, that's too many steps. And then you're just there arguing with your brain of how, okay, but we can do this as a first step, but it's like, no, too many steps. Why? Again, that's just the question. Because on one hand, your brain's like, okay, like logically, this is the first step. This is how we get started. But the other half of your brain's just like, no. Maybe the first step is something that you're not even sure. Like it gets worse if like the first thing is something you're not sure if you can do it. Like, you know, technically this is what needs to be done, but you don't know if you can actually do it. I think we can all relate to Grumpy Patrick. Grumpy Patrick, but anyways. It's so irritating when you describe a symptom to someone and they go, I think we all do that. Yeah, we all pee too, Karen, but if you're doing it 60 times a day, that's probably an issue. I think I mentioned this post in my neurodivergent TikTok video, because literally, just yes, Like, we all walk into rooms and forget what we're doing there. Or sometimes we misplace our phone because we put it down somewhere and then we have no idea where it is. Like, it happens to every human, right? Because in a way, a lot of neurodivergent traits are something that are very human. They're just like more intense or happen way more frequently in neurodivergent people. Okay, my wife makes us put $5 in the find jar every time we make her find something we can't locate in the house. After 13 months of saving, we are buying a Ford Explorer. Now, I'm gonna have to look up how expensive this car is, but I think really expensive. How are you finding these $5? Like, if someone would give me $5 for every time I forget to do something or am looking for something, I would be so incredibly rich. My god. Unfortunately, no one hands us money for being forgetful. Too bad, actually. Too bad. Okay, shuts down laptop. I think that's enough internet for today. Picks up phone. Let's see what the pocket-sized internet is doing. Okay, but literally, there are like different things I do on my laptop versus on my phone. Because stuff like Instagram or TikTok, I only do on my phone, and then I have some games on my phone, and then my laptop I use for like YouTube and stuff, or emails most of the time, although I also have those on my phone, but that's like Netflix and YouTube, all that stuff, because it's like just like nicer to watch with the bigger screen. So that's that internet. And then pocket-sized internet is more social media based, you know? It just makes sense, come on. Okay, the early bird gets the worm, but the late bird just gets a slightly worse worm. There's worms everywhere, who cares? Sleep late, do not let the worms dictate your lifestyle. Alternatively, don't let thick-ass people dictate your lifestyle who are like, oh, but I've been getting up at 5 o'clock for like 50 years and I'm doing fine. Like, okay, cool. If you like getting up early, or if getting up early really works for you, because you kind of get the feeling you get a lot done before anyone else wakes up. Because it's kind of a nice feeling, because like no one's really awake yet to bother you, so I can kind of get it. But listen, especially neurodivergent people with a freaking delayed sleep phases, I cannot physically make myself go to bed at like 10. Because I know I won't fall asleep. I've been trying for years, and I keep telling myself that once I get used to it, I will be able to fall asleep earlier. But it just doesn't freaking work. It just doesn't freaking work because I'm not tired enough. Unless I'm like super exhausted because I only slept like 2 or 3 hours for a couple of nights. Then sure. But unless that happens, who goes to bed early and gets up early? Come on. Me, in the grocery store, trying to remember the 5 things my wife said she needs me to pick up. Honestly, my brain doesn't feel like this, because this brain, or this head, looks like it has like a really big, wrinkly brain. But suddenly, I'm more like chicken fillet smooth brain. Once I go into a grocery store without a list, I'm just like, I know I needed like 5 things, but don't ask me what they were, which is why always make your like grocery list on your phone, because you have your phone with you. You can come if you want, versus I want you to come if you can. I know, again, not really neurodivergent specific, but people with trauma histories often interpret neutral cues as negative. You can come if you want sounds to them like the person doesn't actually want them to come. Affirming that you want them there helps remove any doubts. Because a lot of neurodivergent people also kind of suffer from rejection sensitive dysphoria, right? So you're just like very sensitive to perceived rejection. So if someone says, you can come if you want, if you have RSD, it just sounds really negative. And it sounds like, oh yeah, you can come if you want, but I don't really care, and I don't really want you to come, but I'm just trying to be nice. That's kind of what it sounds like. But if you tell them that they can come if they want, it's like a more positive. It's like, hey, I would like to have you there. But if you can't because you're too drained from this week or whatever, you don't have to. Which is honestly just like a really good hack in general, but especially to neurodivergent people. You know, ADHD brain. There are so many things I could be doing right now. Let's do them all simultaneously. Right now. All of them. Anxiety brain. Nope, that's too much. We're not doing that. In fact, we're not doing nothing at all, and you're just gonna deal with it, bitch. Why? Just why? Because literally, why can't our brain just like have one thought at a time or like one idea at a time? No, we have to do everything simultaneously because there's literally so much you could be doing. And it's worse if you feel like you have to do a lot. Why? How ADHD people highlight the books or notes for class. Now, this is something I thought I just did because back in school, first, I didn't highlight at all because I was like, I can't tell what's important. Like, how am I supposed to highlight? So I just didn't do it at all. But then our teachers would like keep telling us to highlight things, like in workbooks or in exercises. And then I felt like I had to, but then it ended up being way too much. And everyone was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That's like way too much. And I was like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know? Like, how do you know? And I thought it was just me. And now you're telling me that it's just like a common ADHD thing? Thanks, I guess. Masking my autism versus unmasking my autism. Yeah, because literally, I mean, I'm very used to masking in a way that it seems normal to me, but it doesn't mean it's not exhausting. But literally, it's kind of fair. And on that note, we have more Wednesday Adam memes, because if you can embrace Wednesday Adams because of her bluntness, honesty, minimal facial expressions, weird interests, as well as her quirks with social cues, then you can embrace autistic people for the same thing. Yeah, it's kind of those, you like it in theory, like as a character on a TV show, because it's not like threatening and it's not frustrating for you to deal with, because if someone's like that to you in real life, you don't know how to deal with it. And that's why you try to train autistic people to not act like that and to mask, so that they're not as honest with you or not as blunt, and kind of have to tweak the honesty because you think it's rude, and try to kind of force themselves to be more expressive with their face, or like with their facial expressions. Literally, why? Why can't people just accept that people communicate differently than they do, and that it's not actually like a wrong way to communicate, you know? And honestly, I would rather someone be blunt and honest, and me knowing that, okay, they are just being honest, because I know they're not saying things to be rude. I know they're just being honest with me, versus someone like being like really kind of evasive and always like really vague, and you never really know if they mean what they say. Honestly, way more exhausting to deal with. If someone's just like super nice to you and super like, yeah, no, sure, but then they keep going behind your back or something. Why? Way more exhausting. My emotions, TM. 7 a.m. Today I'll be more positive. 10 a.m. Okay, I hate my job, the sun, and myself. Lunch. Okay, I think I may have overacted. 5 p.m. Oh, thank God, another stupid day is over. 8 p.m. If I get enough sleep, I'll be fine. 12 a.m. crying. Honestly, I hope aliens destroy the Earth. Yeah. I mean, my emotional permanence is absolutely amazing. So it always feels like this day is worse, because I can never remember how intense it felt, because even if I know I was upset yesterday, or I was really frustrated yesterday, I can't really feel how that felt, and I keep forgetting how intense it felt, and then I get frustrated. I was like, oh my God, I've never been so frustrated, even though I was literally that frustrated yesterday. And I know that logically, but it doesn't feel that way. And that's why every day kind of ends up like this. Maybe not on this exact schedule, but it kind of happens, you know? Me, extremely burned out. I need to take the day off to relax. Also me. I wonder if there's a way I could relax that would be more productive. Okay, but literally, how am I supposed to just do nothing? Right? Because I know there are like different things that are relaxing to everyone, but I also know it's kind of important for your brain to kind of be bored. But being bored, if you have ADHD, is the most excruciating thing. I can't do it. I can't just sit there and only do one thing. Like, I couldn't just sit there and listen to music. It would be relaxing to a lot of people. But then my brain just kind of starts going into overdrive, and I'm thinking about all the things I could be doing right now, and then it is literally not relaxing to me. So I guess what I'm saying is just do the things, or like try to find ways that work for you to actually relax, and don't just listen to neurotypicals. So like, oh yeah, you know, just watch a nice TV show or go listen to music you like, because doing that on its own probably won't help. You know? Find ways that work for you. Me. Okay, stop convincing me I'm romantically interested in someone to later realize I wasn't. I was just hyperfixating on them because you were just freaking bored. My ADHD. Well, no. This is another one of those things. It's so hard to tell in the moment, because in that moment, you're just so consumed by how you feel about this person, because your brain's just like, yes, and that's the only thing your brain thinks about. And then just like, okay, yeah, no, I must be like wildly in love with this person. And then like 5 minutes later, you lose all interest. And especially the second they start showing interest in you, it just becomes boring to your ADHD brain. And just like, yeah, no, you know what, I think I'm good. Why? Why? Okay, a weighted blanket is not enough. I need whatever is going on here. The rat's trying to turn Tom Kitten into a roly-poly pudding. I'm not sure what a roly-poly pudding is, but I want the rats to turn me into one. Literally, deep compression in its finest form, I'm telling you. Satan, your punishment is to walk in circles and listen to the same song for eternity. Autistic people. Now we're talking. Wait, did you say punishment? How? Have you not met autistic people before? You know? Okay, I'd be like, long story short, but then I'll still tell the entire story. And it'll end up being anything but short, because the side tangents and side stories and weird facts about people that are sort of included in the story, but not actually that relevant to it, but you gotta explain this person first and be like, okay, so this person, who's not important at all, they always do this like weird thing, and I'm really annoyed by it, but that's not important. This person has nothing to do with the story. But I don't know if you noticed, but I go way off topic sometimes, and I think maybe you don't notice because I cut some of it out. Because I'm just like, okay, I know it makes sense to me, but it's not going to make sense to anyone else. You know? Okay, what eye contact feels to me as an autistic person? Ah yes, look through my eye holes. Hint, do not look at this picture. Do not look at it. Especially for longer than a few seconds. It just gets so uncomfortable to me. Because that picture itself already looks weird. But then, if you kind of imagine how eye contact feels to you at the same time, it just gets so much worse. Because it's kind of what it feels like, actually. Only kind of one-sided, because these people both seem to be into it. But as autistic people, it seems like someone's like doing this to you, but your eyes don't want to do it because you have like normal eyes, not these kind of eyes. You know? 7-year-old me. Cool rock I found on the playground. 27-year-old me. Cool rock I found on the ground. Hey, listen. Especially if it's like shaped really cool. Why wouldn't you? You know? Neurotypicals. Acts rude. Autistic me. Acts rude back. Neurotypical. You weren't supposed to do that. Only I'm allowed to do that because I'm neurotypical and I'm allowed to be rude and tell you that you're doing something wrong, even though that's the natural way it feels to you. And then your honesty is just rude. Because that makes sense. Listen, if someone's rude to you, you kind of have every right to be rude back. You know? Like, I'm not advocating for being rude to people really, but if someone doesn't treat you the right way, like ever, why would you try to be nice to them? You know? Okay, does anyone else with intrusive thoughts do that weird dismissive headshake when they get them to kind of like reverse or reject the thought? Or is that just me? You know, gotta shake your brain like an etch and sketch and start over. Kind of. But it feels that way because it helps, right? Because shaking your head, it's kind of a no motion for your brain. It's like, no. Because telling your brain to stop doesn't work. So sometimes just kind of shaking your head and kind of shaking the thought away helps. It really helps. So no, you're not the only one at all. Okay, you've listened to this song 700 times today. Yes. New Year, same songs on repeat. Again, I don't see the issue. I like listening to songs on repeat. Because why wouldn't you? If it still like scratches your brain the right way, you gotta listen to it on repeat, you know? Because it doesn't feel right to listen to another song. Okay, I started therapy and antidepressants at age 14. Why? Year 5 of therapy and meds. Why? Year 15 of therapy and meds. Why? Diagnosed autistic and ADHD at age 33. Oh, that's why. Yeah, being in therapy or like on antidepressant meds or something helps for a lot of people. But if it's actually because of like undiagnosed ADHD or autism, it's not really gonna help because a lot of things that work in therapy for neurotypicals aren't really gonna work or aren't gonna work in that way therapists teach you how to do them. You know? It just kind of, it works a little bit different because, well, we have different brains. You know, and if your therapist doesn't realize that, because sure, everyone's brain's like a little bit different, obviously, but the difference between like neurotypicals in therapy and autistic or ADHD people in therapy, probably way different. I just don't get why everything is so difficult. Every time I go to do something I need to do, it's like there's an invisible wall that I need to climb over to even start. Yeah, that kind of sounds like you have ADHD, dude. When I need to do the dishes, I just go up and do them. You do what now? You can just be like, huh, the dishes need to be done. And do it. Because I kind of have to wait for that urge to kick in. Because I have to be like overwhelmed enough by the mess for my brain to be like, no, okay, now you can do something about it. But then I have to do the dishes. I can't just be like, no, you know what, I'll just finish this movie first. If it happens in the middle of a movie, or whatever I'm doing, I have to get up and do it. How do you not, you know? It's so stupid. ADHD doesn't vaguely relate to neurosis in a trench coat, including such popular hits as Can't Fucking Sleep Disorder, Can't Fucking Wake Up Disorder, What is Focus, Oops, I Did It Again, Spent 13 hours on YouTube and forgot to eat or drink, The World is Too Noise Today, All My Friends Hate Me. I deduced this from a 3-word text. I forgot about a thing literally as soon as I turned around, and they decided to call it Trouble Sitting Still Disorder. Kind of. Yeah, kind of. Because literally, it's not really a hyperactivity deficit disorder. I mean, like attention deficit disorder. Kind of. That's like part of it, right? I mean, not even all people have the hyperactive part of that, which isn't even just normal hyperactivity of like not being able to sit still and just like running around. It's also like a lot of just like restlessness, because especially a lot of adults, and especially people who are assigned female at birth, tend to internalize it a lot. So it's just like a lot of racing thoughts and that kind of thing, which does include a lot of anxiety, obviously, but still, it's kind of literally just 12 fucking neuroses in a trench coat, you know? And now I have a few of these cute dino comics because A, they're dinos and they're cute, and secondly, they're just too relatable. Sets target to motivate myself, misses the target and lose all my motivation. Every time. Especially since we're so good at setting realistic targets, like, right? Like, because a realistic target isn't exciting enough for your brain, so it doesn't work to motivate you. So you set a target that you know is gonna be like not achievable, but you still set it because you're like, yes, I need to achieve it, because that way it feels urgent enough. But then you miss it and then you lose all motivation, and it's like, okay, listen, why did I even start? This is so pointless. Every time, my god. I feel too down to work. Why would I waste a rare good day on working? I feel a little bit called out, because literally, if you're like already in a bad mood, you're just like, okay, I can't focus on this. I can't deal with these idiots today. I can't do it. But then if you're in a good mood, you're just like, I can't deal with these idiots today. Like, someone's just gonna like say some bullshit and then I'm gonna get mad, and then the good day is kind of ruined. Because again, emotions are a bit tricky, because then you feel like that emotion you're feeling right now, because you get frustrated at someone because they're like being rude to you or whatever it is, it just kind of feels so all-consuming in that moment that you don't really realize that after that your day is just gonna go on and it's gonna get better again, because like 5 minutes later you go get coffee with a cool colleague and you just like get a nice coffee or whatever you like to drink, and then just like feels better again instantly, but you don't feel that in that moment. Oh well. Oh god. Actually, maybe things aren't that bad. Why is this? I love how the dino has the same facial expression in the negative ones as well as the positive, well actually maybe things aren't that bad one. Because I think usually these memes are very relatable to ADHD people. I think the kind of lack of readable facial expressions to neurotypicals, at least, might be very autistic in this one. So yeah, but that's just life for everyone, I think, because literally like so many things happen. It's just like, why is all this happening? It's also frustrating. But then it's like, oh, puppy, maybe things aren't so bad, you know? Okay, I'm too anxious to sleep because of all the work I have to do. But now I'm too tired to work because I didn't sleep. Again, trench coat and can't freaking sleep or can't freaking wake up disorder. Literally. Again, I mean, if you can kind of try to organize your day in a way that works for when you can fall asleep. Because I think a lot of people can generally just fall asleep better later. But if you have to start your job early because your job requires it, because you have to start at a certain time, that just becomes very tricky, you know? Okay, I want a new thing. I got the new thing. I'm bored of the new thing. I'm empty now. This, again, this itself is like such a human thing in general, because we all tend to just like get used to the things we have, that it doesn't feel as new and exciting anymore. Like that happens for everyone. But again, for neurotypicals, it's just on a whole new level. And if it happens with your hyperfixation, it's just so sad. It is so sad. Do I still get tattoos of my hyperfixation sometimes? Yes. Because in my head, I'm just like, okay, I know how I feel about this thing right now will actually fade. And especially with tattoos in general, it's also like I'm very excited to get them. And I'm gonna get a new tattoo soon. Well, in like 1.5 months, but anyways. I'm gonna get it soon, and I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna be really excited about it, and then I'm just gonna get used to it. But still, I'm gonna get it. Because, honestly, even if your hyperfixations don't last, a lot of the time, they still kind of form you in a way, and they still kind of like, either they teach you something, or you just kind of take something from them that even if the hyperfixation fades, still lasts. You know? So honestly, it's not all sad to lose a hyperfixation, even though, again, in that moment, it's not gonna feel... It's just gonna feel sad. It's just gonna feel sad. But you can't even feel sad in that moment, because you can't feel emotions for the thing anymore. But still. Yes. But anyways, I wish you all a very, very long hyperfixation, because that way it doesn't feel like wasted money because you keep being interested in it, you know? And I hope you're hydrated now. If not, go finish your drink now. and I will be back in 3 days with my next video.